About 10 years ago, I worked with Tim Norman from the show Welcome to Sweetie Pies, and I'm going to tell you what that was like and give you my opinion on what's going on with him now. Hey everybody, my name is Jay. There's a lot to go over, so I'm going to jump right into it. Number one, who is Tim? Tim Norman is the only living son of Miss Robbie Montgomery, who is the owner of the restaurant Sweetie Pies. She's also the star of the Oprah-owned television show Welcome to Sweetie Pies. She became famous when she was a backup singer for Tina Turner and Ike Turner. She was one of the Ikeettes. They traveled together. She had a collapsed lung, so she retired from singing. She came into some money from some investments. They started a restaurant, and then her son, Tim, pitched an idea for a television show to Oprah's network OWN, and then that's where Welcome to Sweetie Pies was born. Now, I say Tim is her only living son because Miss Robbie had another son who was killed, but before her son was killed, that son had a son named Andre, and that's going to be important a little later on, so don't forget that point. Number two, Tim in the news. So today, Tuesday, August 18th, 2020, Tim has been accused of and arrested for allegedly plotting to kill his nephew, Andre. Again, Andre being the son of Miss Robbie's deceased other son. And the son that was deceased only had one child, which was Andre. So now Tim is being accused of plotting his murder. Now, Miss Robbie's grandson, Andre, was killed back in 2016 in St. Louis. He was, I believe, headed to the studio. I will put the link to the article of Andre's death in the description so that you guys can read up on everything that happened on the day that he died. But the year was 2016. Early in the year, I believe it was March 2016 when Andre passed away. He was a victim of gun violence, and it was a really big uproar here in St. Louis because Sweetie Pies was a really big restaurant. Miss Robbie was like a local celebrity. Tim was like a local celebrity. Everybody who worked at the restaurant and who was on the show, people got to know. So it seemed like it was like a jealousy thing. So that was the whole uproar in the city when Andre died. Now, I got this clip here from the Shade Room. Again, I will link the article in the description, but the Shade Room says it was two articles posted on the Shade Room. One of them said that Tim has been arrested for allegedly plotting his nephew's murder, and then the second article said that he plotted the murder. The alleged motive was that he plotted the murder to get his nephew's life insurance. So in the Shade Room article, it states that Tim Norman had taken out a $450,000 life insurance policy on his nephew, Andre. The story is that Tim allegedly a stripper from Memphis plotted to kill Andre for the insurance money. So there was some trafficking, some phones, blah, 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 blah. I'll get to all of that later. But a week after Andre was murdered, Tim Norman, the uncle, tried to cash in on his insurance policy, which I'll get to a little bit later. So that's what the article on the Shade Room says. Now, number three, let's get to Tim's criminal background. Now, mind you, or disclaimer, all of this is public knowledge. You can Google these facts. It's all public record. You can go to the courthouse and get this information. So I'm not saying anything that I'm speculating. This is all of this that I'm about to say has been published. So even though I worked with him, I'm not just making this up. This is not insider information. This is public knowledge that everyone either already knows or you can find out for yourself. Now, it's been over a decade since I worked with Tim, Miss Robbie, and the Sweetie Pies family and franchise. So I don't think I'm in breach of any NDA or anything like that. So even if I am, I'm going to be very, very careful about what I say. I mean, even if I am still under an NDA, I'm going to be very, very careful about what I say. So I'm not in breach of that. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, so Tim's criminal background. Number one, he spent 10 years in prison for aggravated assault and armed robbery. That is a felony charge. Okay, when you spend a decade in prison, you're a felon. Okay, so he got out of jail. That's when he started working at the restaurant. That's when they got the show. That is listed in his bio on the OWN website when you click on the show. So if you go to the OWN website, owntv.com or own.com, and it lists shows. You go to Sweetie Pies, and in the bios of the character, in Tim's bio, it states that he spent 10 years in prison, okay? So that's one instance. A second instance was Tim was allegedly sued from a landlord in Texas for $500,000, either a quarter or $500,000. Again, I will link the article for back due rent. Okay, so he was sued for that. Number 3, Miss Robbie sued him. I'm going to link the article, but there was something to do about the location that he opened up in LA, something about the name, something about the funds. I'm not sure about the details, but again, I will link the article. But Miss Robbie definitely sued Tim for something involving the restaurant Sweetie Pies, okay? Some sort of legal entanglement, I'm going to use that word, that went on between the two of them. She sued him because of that, okay? So that's number 3. Number 4, allegedly, Tim was arrested on assault charges for assaulting one, if not many, employees at Sweetie Pies. He allegedly punched an employee in the face in their Texas location, okay? So he was allegedly arrested for assault charges there. I will link the article. So that's number 4. Number 5, Tim, after he divorced from his ex-wife Jaye, he was dating Basketball Wives star Jennifer Williams, and he was arrested on assault charges, and she had to put out like a restraining order, and I believe she filed stalking charges on him, and she had to go to court and testify. So that was a whole thing. So you have 5 instances of Tim's criminal behavior that is all public knowledge and on the Google, okay? I'm going to link the articles, but you can Google Tim's criminal background, okay? That's 5 instances. Now, what I saw when I worked with Tim during the Sweetie Pies phenomenon, I saw that Tim was a person who I wouldn't leave my purse around. I don't know. There was just something about him. I never actually saw him do anything underhanded or deviant or illegal, but there was just always a vibe about him that was like, where is my purse? Let me make sure it's zipped up and put my wallet away. And that's not to speak ill of him as a person, because I don't know if he ever committed any crime. I wasn't there. But sometimes you just get like an intuition and you just feel a vibe about someone. You feel an aura. Maybe it's because I'm Southern. You know, my family's from Mississippi. And maybe that's just one of those things. It's like an antenna. It's like, I don't know, discernment. Yes, that's what it is. I have discernment over some people or over my life. And sometimes some people just rub me the wrong way. And he was just one of those people who kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Also, when you look at what his criminal history is, it seems like he has a proclivity for criminal activity. Now, that doesn't mean that someone is a criminal just because they have a proclivity for criminal activity. I can like vegetarian food and not be a vegetarian, okay? So just because you have certain interests or habits doesn't mean that you are a person who does those things, okay? So I want to be very clear about that. Just because you have a proclivity for criminal activity does not make you a criminal. Okay? Also, there is one thing I want to say about the entire Sweetie Pies family, all of the workers, all of the employees, Miss Robbie, her sisters, her niece, her nephew. They are a family unit, and I feel bad for what they're going through right now. Like, it was bad enough losing Andre. It was bad enough for Miss Robbie to lose her son. Then her son Tim goes to jail. Then her son Andre moves from Texas to St. Louis to be with her, even though she said St. Louis is not safe for you. You know, they're killing black men left and right in St. Louis. I think it's best you stay in Texas. And he said, no, Grandma, I want to come and be with you guys. So Miss Robbie's goal was to get him to graduate high school and move back to Texas because she thought it was safer for him in Texas. So when he passed away in March of 2016, he was coming to visit Miss Robbie in St. Louis. And a few days after he came to visit, that's when he was killed. So she's dealing with regret and blame and guilt because she couldn't stop him from coming, and she tried so hard to keep him away from that criminal element that is very common in St. Louis, especially black men. They're at risk. They are just being killed for no reason. And I feel like as a grandmother and as a mother, you want to protect your family members, but you want to protect the men as much as possible because they just somehow find their way to the streets. And if anybody who's living that street life, you're worried if they're going to come home or not. Even if it doesn't have to be criminal. It can be, I have friends and I'm hanging out with them at night, or I'm doing music, or I'm shooting movies. If you're outside, if you're a black man outside at night in St. Louis, you run the risk of your life being taken away. And that is the unpleasant reality of living in St. Louis that people don't want to talk about. Is it all around St. Louis? No. But certain parts of St. Louis, if you're a black man, you just should not be at night. Now, let's go back to life insurance. Okay, so people in the comments on Instagram, on the Shade Room's post, on Facebook, on the Twitters, everywhere, people were saying that it's the fact that Tim took out a life insurance policy, that's the telltale sign that he was up to no good and he was a criminal. And I just want to put the kibosh on that right away, because just because you take out a life insurance policy on someone doesn't mean that you're plotting their death. I think everyone should have life insurance. And is it sad that the young man lost his life? Absolutely. But if that young man had a family, that life insurance policy could have taken care of his family for, I don't want to say the rest of their life, but for a long time, for a majority of their life. And people you don't want to have life insurance, but when someone dies in your family unexpectedly, then you got to have a GoFundMe to pay for the funeral. So who wants to do that? Who wants to be scraping up and begging people for money to bury your loved one when you could have had life insurance to take care of your final arrangements? And I'm going to say this, and some people might not like it, but that's okay. If you know someone is out there in the streets and they are living a life of crime and they're living a life where you don't know if they're going to make it home, then they should have a life insurance policy, especially if they have children. You might not like that I said that, but that's how I feel. I think everyone should have life insurance. And if you think that it is in some way wrong for you to, or if you think it's benefiting off someone's death to have life insurance, then you and I see differently, because that's how other people in other communities, I'll just say that, and other people in other communities build generational wealth through life insurance. Someone has a policy, they pass away, that life insurance money gets passed down to their dependents. That allows them to buy a home, start a business, invest, own property, whatever it is. But in our community, we shy away from that. We'll have a GoFundMe and a fish fry, but we won't talk about life insurance. Well, I'm talking about life insurance right now. So I don't think there was anything wrong with Tim taking out a life insurance policy on Andre. Andre did not have a father. He doesn't have a grandfather on Miss Robbie's side. So Tim was like the uncle that was going to look out for him. That's how I perceived it, okay? So because Andre was when I met Andre, he was still a teenager. He was in high school. So he was about 16 when I met him. And Tim had just had a baby with his ex-wife, Jaye. So, you know, when you do things like that for your family members, I don't think that there's anything underhanded or wrong with that. Also, when people pass away, it is customary for you to go to the bank or the insurance agency and make a claim, because that money is going to help take care of the funeral costs or whatever final arrangements. So if you have hospital bills, if you have a funeral to pay for, if you have outstanding debt, if you have legal fees or whatever, that life insurance policy helps take care of all of that. So it's not foreign for someone to take a life insurance policy out on a loved one, and it is not foreign to file a claim on a life insurance policy soon after someone has passed. I say that because on the Shade Room, the article mentioned that Tim had tried to file a claim on the life insurance policy 1 week after Andre was killed. That, in my experience, that is totally it's totally common for people to file a claim soon after someone has passed so they can pay for the funeral arrangements. And if they're, staying in a home or whatever, they can just pay all the bills and pay for a funeral, and that will be the end of that. So just because he did that doesn't mean that that's automatically criminal behavior. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, I've talked about the life insurance. I talked about Tim's criminal past. I've talked about Miss Robbie's children and how Andre falls in the, how he's her grandson, and why it's so tragic for Tim to be accused of this crime. Because again, Miss Robbie lost her son to violence, then her son went to jail, then she lost her grandson to violence, and now she's in the public eye because of her son being accused of plotting to kill her grandson. Like, that sounds insane. And I don't know if it's true, but if Tim goes to jail for this, then he's taken himself out of the life of his own son, because Tim has a son, TJ, Tim Jr., that he had with his ex-wife, Jaye. So now he's out of TJ's life. He's out of Miss Robbie's life again. He has taken, allegedly, if he's convicted of this, that means that that Andre's mom will look at him as the reason why she no longer has a son. All of the cousins, the aunts who are all involved in that whole Sweetie Pies thing, their whole life has been turned upside down because of this. Again, because it was turned upside down when Andre was killed. Now, to fathom that Tim was involved somehow in his murder, now the whole family is in an uproar again. So I hate that Miss Robbie and her family have to have their name besmudged in the media and dragged and hashtagged and made a mockery of and made fun of. They're going to be a meme any day now. And I hate that for her, because she was a really, really nice woman. Just a good-hearted, just a good soul, just a good-hearted woman. Southern, from Starksville, Mississippi. Just like a nice lady. Just like a nice black lady. That she just want, like an auntie. She was just so sweet and so great. But she had that sash. She has she'll get at you. And I always got that from her whenever I was around Miss Robbie. And I hate for her. More than anybody, I hate that she is dealing with this and going through this. And if you were feeling like if this was your chance to make a funny tweet or something, some sort of meme, don't. I know her. She's a nice lady. Her family doesn't deserve this. They don't deserve to be the butt of your jokes and to be made their family name to be made a mockery of. They're dealing with enough. Let them deal with this the best way they can, okay? And that's as privately as possible. Stop with your memes. Stop with your jokes. Stop with your tweets. I feel so terrible for Miss Robbie and her family. I don't know what's going to happen with Tim, but I know that this is devastating to everyone who ever knew him or any member of the family. Andre's friends, this was another thing I was going to bring up. Earlier, I mentioned that when Andre was killed, there was this uproar of, like, why can't black men be great? And black men are always attacking black men. Now, allegedly, it has nothing to do with jealousy and black men hating on black men and, black on black crime, which is not a real thing, but somebody's going to throw that out there. It's not a real thing, guys. But now it was all a plot. It has nothing to do with random acts of violence, allegedly, okay? So that's another thing that makes me pause, or that gives me pause. It's like, dang, what you did allegedly gave St. Louis and their people a bad rap. Like, we're one of these cities who just be killing folk and not caring that, these people were doing something for the city and they were hometown heroes and they were celebrities. Like, we're just a city of haters. Like, we just gonna hate on people. We gonna kill them. And we're not gonna let people live. We're not gonna let people be great. That's what you made St. Louis look like. And turns out you were the culprit. Allegedly. So I don't know what. It was another thing. Oh my God, y'all, there's so much. There's so many layers to this. Now, the charges. There are state charges and federal charges. And the reason why is because allegedly Tim had come from California to St. Louis because he got wind that Andre was coming from Texas to St. Louis. And this stripper from Memphis told Tim that she was going to come up to St. Louis. She either told Tim or told Andre. But allegedly, Tim traveled to St. Louis. This stripper, Miss Ellis, I can't remember, starts with a T. T something Ellis. Terica Ellis, allegedly, came up from Memphis to St. Louis. They got burner phones. If you guys don't know what a burner phone is, it's a disposable prepaid cell phone that you can get from Walmart or Walgreens. But they got a burner phone, and they were communicating to each other saying, hey, you know, this is where Andre is going to be. And so allegedly Tim had communicated with Andre like, hey, where are you? Andre said, I'm here. And then allegedly Tim called Terica and was like, hey, he's over here. And then Terica called the actual killer and told him, hey, he's over here. And that's when he was killed. And according to the Shade Room's article, the purpose for them working together in a cohort or in cahoots was that everyone was going to get a piece of the life insurance policy, and somehow some money of $9,000 was paid into multiple accounts by Tim. Again, all allegedly. The article is on the Shade Room. Oh, my shoulders are hurting because it's just so much tension. Oh, back to the charges. Okay. The fact that Tim allegedly came from California, Terica allegedly came from Memphis, and to St. Louis, and then went back. That's what makes it a federal charge, is because they cross state lines. The minute you cross state lines, you're dealing with the feds. Now, if this whole plot started and ended in Missouri, then they would just have to deal with the state. But the fact that there was some communication in multiple states, there were cell phones and social media or email involved, because you use all of those other things, that becomes a federal charge. It's so crazy. I need to really get into crime studies. God, my shoulders are all tense trying to tell this story, guys. I'm so sorry. So if I meet a guy on the corner and I say, hey guy, take out my husband, if we don't use a cell phone, or if I don't email you anything, or we don't do a wire transfer, then the state handles it. But the minute money changes hands in a bank, and there's like wire transfers and there's deposits, and you get on a cell phone and you're texting people, or you're making phone calls, or you're doing emails, or you're doing DMs. Oh my gosh, the feds are involved. The alphabet boys are here, guys. We got the CIA, the FBI, the ATF. We got the STLPD. So much is happening with this case, and it seems super personal to me because, again, I work with Tim, and I work with Miss Robbie, and I work with Andre. So crazy. But I just saw this while I was at work today, so I was like, I have to share with you guys what my experience was with Tim, what I noticed, what I felt in my bones. Again, this is all my opinion. I'm not stating anything factual about his criminal activity, because I don't know. I've never seen it, so I can't say for sure one way or another. But again, everything that I mentioned about his criminal past is all Googleable. It's all public record. You can find his lawsuits, his arrest record, all of that stuff. Again, I can't say this enough. I feel bad for Miss Robbie and the Montgomery family, the whole Sweetie Pies family. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. And I will keep on top of it, because again, he's being held in Madison County, which is in Missouri. So it's going to be on all of the St. Louis newspapers and websites, news sites. So I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna keep on top of it. And if you guys want to see more, I will definitely show more. This video has been super long. I'm almost at 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if I talk fast. Not even if. I'm sorry that I talk fast. But there was a lot of information to get out there, and I wanted to get it all out. So I think I've covered everything. My shoulders hurt now. I've been spitting through this whole thing. I still have work in the morning, so I'm going to wrap this up. All right, I'm gonna call it a day. This is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your comments below if you have any questions. I will answer them. Please make them respectful questions. I'm not going to be telling any family secrets, so don't ask me about anything like that. But whatever happens in the news, if it's the answer to your question, I'll be sure to answer your question. Like this video, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys later. But until then, stay safe. Peace.